Good evening. Today is Monday, March 3rd, and I'm going to review the charts for all of the alerts that were given out through Stockwits Academy today. So I'll be reviewing them in chronological order from the time that they were alerted, and then I'll review the chart on the 5-minute to review it and see where we would have had a good entry point. So the first alert, and I've got the alerts all listed here on the screen. And like I said, I use the 5-minute chart, and I've got all my SMAs and EMAs marked out, which here's my legend if you need to review it. And we'll start with the first alert that was given out, which was AMD today. So AMD was given out at 7:32. So we'll have a look at the chart at 7:32, which was right around this candle. So if you look at the chart right here, you can see that it was given on a green candle and price reversed on the 200 EMA. So price was sort of just hanging around VWAP. The purple line is VWAP. MACD was not looking strong at this time. So this would not have been a good entry point, especially once you saw the next candle was red and it fell below VWAP and then it continued down. So this was not a good entry point at this time on AMD. You could have caught a bit of a reversal here, which it reversed on the 50 SMA, which is this blue line right here, and you could have caught a bit of an upside there. It was a call that was given out. Again, it kept rejecting off the 200 EMA. If you would have kept watching this chart and it rejected again, this is where you could have gotten in for a put, and we all know what happened in the market today. So a put here would have given you a nice downside and there as well. So this chart was never really set up nice for a call today. Next we had Meta. Meta was given at 7:33, so right around the same time as AMD. So let's just look at the chart for Meta. Meta, if we look at 7:33, right up around here, when you were looking at this chart, I can move these all out of the way. These are just previous days high and low and pre-market high and low. You can see that price never really closed over VWAP. So this again would not have been a good entry point. And then you can see that price dropped off and kind of chopped back and forth all day, and then of course went into a decline. So at the time, this would not have been a good entry point, and you really wouldn't have got much of a trade out of this today unless you got in for a put down here when it rejected off the 200 EMA and caught a nice downside there towards the end of the day. Next we had XOM. XOM, the alert was given at 7:35. So we'll look at the chart. If we look at the 7:35 candle, which is right here, just by looking at this, you could see that we had what's called a tweezer top there. Price never closed over VWAP, and then it continued down. And you can see MACD wasn't strong there either. And then price declined, and it kept going down, and then we know what happened here today. So if you would have gotten in on a put, you could have had a nice put for the day on XOM. Next we had Tesla, which was given at 7:46. Let's bring up Tesla here at 7:46. So let's just have a look at this chart. And again, I can move these out of the way. So that was 7:46. So let's have a look at the chart. This is 7:45. So again, we never had a green candle close over VWAP. This chart was just choppy throughout this time. There wasn't a good entry point. And then obviously here, a put would have been a good entry point here. And this was rejecting off this higher end of the Bollinger Band. And that's when the whole market started to drop. Next we had Adobe given at 7:46. Let's look at Adobe at 7:46. That would have been right. That's 7:45. 7:46 would have been right on this candle. So if you'd have looked at this chart right here, this candle was not a strong green candle at all. Again, it was a call that was given, so you would have wanted to wait for a close over VWAP on here, which we didn't get. And then you can see that all your moving averages are in an uptrend, but it's right in the middle of a pullback here because it had a strong green candle going up, but it was right outside the Bollinger Bands. So there's always going to be a pullback when price goes outside the Bollinger Bands, which we did get a pullback here. So if you would have watched this chart for a while, you could have gotten in down here when it pulled back to the 9 EMA and rode it up for the 9 EMA. You could have stayed in this trade for quite a while if you would have got in down here and rode it up to here. You would have had a nice trade for the upside. And then, of course, ideally you would have wanted to put there and catch the downside towards the end of the day. But that was Adobe. So you did have a chance to catch some upside to Adobe today. Next, we had LLY. I didn't get in on this trade, but I saw lots of people mentioning that it was going up and up. So let's just see. It was LLY was given out at 7.49. So if we look at the chart here at 7.49, which should have been right around here, you did get a pullback. Price never really crossed above VWAP, but it touched down here to the 20 SMA. So if you'd have got in around here on the pullback, then you could have caught a really nice upside to this trade, which sounded like a lot of people did, and rode that right up really nice. You would have caught a nice upside to that trade. Everything was looking good. The moving averages were all going up, especially once price crossed above VWAP, it was looking good. So you could have caught a nice upside to that trade. Next we had ENPH. ENPH, the alert was given at 8:07. So let's look at ENPH at 8:07. So 8:07 would have been right around here. So this was going to catch the reversal here on the tweezer bottom. So if you wanted to get in on that trade, knowing that it had to cross VWAP, it had to cross 9 EMA, 20, and then you did have these resistance lines as well. If you got in down here, you could have caught a bit of an upside to it, but again, it was risky because you had all this resistance coming in, and MACD was on the downside, not on the upside. So you were just trying to catch a reversal, and you would have caught a bit of an upside, and then, of course, the trend went down afterwards. So that was ENPH. And again, today, most of the alerts were calls, but today the market, we know, did end up trending down overall later on in the day. So there was a chance for some upside in a lot of these trades early on. And then, of course, everything went downwards. So FSLR was given at 8:08. So if we look, that would have been right around here. So again, we were catching a reversal here, and you would have been looking at some resistance through some of these lines. You could have caught some upside to it, and again, you did have some resistance here, and then it reversed and went downwards, so there wouldn't have been much of a trade in FSLR today. Next, we had SOUN, which is Soundhound. That alert was given at 8:08. So let's just look at 8:08, which would have been right on this candle. So when you looked at this chart at this time, it was looking okay. All your moving averages were in an uptrend. MACD was in an uptrend, and you could have got in at this time and caught a nice little upside to this trade. And then obviously, if you got out, you could have gotten in for a put side as well and wrote it down, but you did have an opportunity for a nice little upside to this trade today. And that was SOUND, or SOUN, Soundhound. Next we had coin. There was a swing. I'm not going to review the swing calls, but we did have coin alert given at 8:20 right here. So coin, let's just find that chart. Coin, the alert was given at 8:20, and again, it was a call. So let's look at the chart, 8:20. So right here, if you'd have looked at this chart, price was under VWAP. So, and MACD was in a downtrend. Normally, you kind of want to see price above VWAP, or at least partially over it. You want to see MACD on an uptrend, which it wasn't, so this was not a good entry point. And obviously you can see it rejected off VWAP here again, which could have, you could have caught a bit of an upside if you'd have got in on this reversal, but it was rejected on VWAP here, and then there was a put side. So that would have been your ideal entry here and catch a downside to it. Next we had TSM. TSM, the alert was given at 8:23, so let's look at that at 8:23, which was right on this big green candle here. So when the alert was given, if you looked at this chart, you were catching the reversal, your MACD was on an uptrend, some of your moving averages were going up, but some were coming down, so you would know you were going to catch some resistance there, which you did, so you wouldn't have got much of an upside to that trade today, and then of course it reversed and went down. So that was TSM. Next we had NVDA. NVDA was given at 8:23. So we'll look at the chart here at 8:23. I can move some of these out of the way so it doesn't look so confusing, but those are my previous day high and low, my orb pre-market high and low, which I chart those out when I'm looking at a chart. Okay, so NVIDIA at 8:23 was right around here. You wouldn't have wanted to be entering here because we're bouncing off VWAP. It's staying below. You would have wanted a clear confirmation above VWAP, which is the purple line, which we didn't get. MACD was in a downtrend. So, of course, this chart ended up just going down. So if you would have got in on the reversal here, you could have wrote it down for a put. And then again here was an opportunity for a put as well. So that would have been NVIDIA today. Again, a lot of these charts, like we said, there wasn't a lot of opportunity for calls because everything, excuse me, did end up reversing. Okay, next we had TEM. TEM was given at 8:23. So let's just look at this chart. 8:23, which would have been right around here. Again, we were going for the reversal, but it just wasn't strong enough. MACD was in a downtrend, nothing flipped up. There was a bit of an upside right to the 113 EMA, but again, not much of an upside to it, and then you could have caught the downside. So that was TEM. INTC. And today is just not a good day for reviewing calls because, it was just, we know the market dropped today. So INTC at 8:28. Let's just look at it here. So, oh, that's probably around here, yeah. So again, price is above VWAP. Your moving averages are going up. MACD is not strong because for a strong MACD, you want a big gap between these two lines. So you did not have a strong gap on the MACD. You had some upside on the moving averages, so it was just choppy. You would have wanted to wait for more confirmation if you were going to get in, and you would want to see the price actually going up and maybe cross over this resistance here. That didn't happen, and then of course price went down. So you could have caught the put side on this trade. You know, almost all of these trades you could have caught the put side on because they just weren't setting up for a call. After INTC was RBLX, and that was at 8:30. So let's look at, and that's Roblox, I believe. Yep, at 8:30. So let's look at 8:30, which is right around here. Looking at this chart here, I can move some of these off here so you can see it a little better. Looking at this chart at 8:30, 8:29. Again, it was chopping back and forth. It kept bouncing off this resistance here. So even if you'd have waited and caught the rebound here, you still didn't get much of an upside to it because, again, this resistance here was pretty strong. Kept bouncing off it, didn't even get much higher, fell back down. You could have caught some reversal here and caught a little bit of an upside to it, and then, of course, the downside would have been where you would have wanted to get in. So that was RBLX. Next we had OKTA. Let's look at this one. This one ended up green today. So OKTA at 841. Oh, it was green probably because of, oh no, it ended up red. Okay, my chart was showing green. OKTA at 841. This chart, yeah, there's no point reviewing it. Just chopped back and forth today. There wasn't a lot of volume with not a, like if you look up here, you see the volume was only 4 million. Relative volume was 2.86, which is good, but there just wasn't a lot of volume, and that's why you don't see very big candles. And this chart just didn't set up today at all for a call. Next we had SPY 0DTE. I don't really want to review SPY because it's kind of all over the place, but let's just have a look here. SPY, it was extreme risk, 845, 844. Let's just have a look at 844. That was right around here. That was in anticipation of it maybe continuing to the upside here, but of course it didn't. And we know what happened the rest of the day with SPY. It was choppy and then it dropped. So that was SPY. Next we had ADSK. Let's look at ADSK, 846, which was right around here. ADSK never really set up for a good call. It was really choppy back and forth. Caught a bit of an upside here, and then I guess, again, we know it was downside. When this was called out, you can see that all your moving averages are not in the uptrend because this one here, which is your SMA 113, is actually in the downtrend. So this wouldn't have been a good entry point by the time it did finally flip and start moving up, but then price started to drop. So that did not set up for a very good call position today. Next we had CELH. CELH is more of a, well, not a swing. It had the expiry date of March 14th, but if you want to look at it, 852, this one I do believe worked out. This is the alert was given right here. If you would have just watched this trade, you could have watched it kind of cross back and forth over the 9 EMA, and it held the 9 EMA. And then, of course, we had a nice upside to this trade, and I know there's a few people in on this trade today. It has an expiry of next week, but you know, it wouldn't be a good idea to hold through all that. So your best bet is to get out when you've got a profit, which you would have if you'd have got in down anywhere along here. You could have got out up here. And then, of course, you could have even swung over and went to a put side and caught the downside as well. But again, with this being a March 14th expiry, if you see this happening, your best bet is to get out because you're going to lose so much on this whole downside. And then who knows what's even going to happen tomorrow in the next few days. With the market just so risky, it's really risky to hold. I very rarely hold a trade overnight. Next we have UAL, which was a put. So let's just look at UAL. And that was given at 858. So let's just look at 858, which should have been right around here. We were looking for a put. So this, you could see it's rejecting off this 113 EMA. So if you would have kept an eye on that, waited for a breakdown. And at this time too, your moving averages are not in a downtrend. MACD was, it's not strong, but your moving averages are kind of flat. When your moving averages are flat, it can kind of go either way. So if you would have watched it, this is where you would have wanted to get in for a put, and then you would have caught the downside, and a nice downside. If you'd have hung in, you would have got a really nice downside on that trade, and could have made some good money on that trade today. So that was UAL. Next we had AES as a swing. We're not going to review that. Then we had Microsoft put, or that's a call at 903. Let's just look at that one. Let's look at the chart at 903, which is right around here. We're trying to catch some upside, but again, all your moving averages are straight across. MACD is not strong, would not be a good entry point for a call. not even a put there because it just can't make up its mind what it's going to do. So basically your rejection off your 200 EMA here would have been your entry point, and then there's your downside for the day. So that was Microsoft. Next we had AMTM, which is a swing. We're not going to review that. Then we had Apple, which was a call. Apple at 906. Let's just look and see what happened to this trade at 906. So if we look here, okay, it's right here. So we were catching some upside to this trade. But again, your moving averages are kind of in the upswing, but kind of going sideways. And of course, MACD is not strong and it's in the downtrend. So this is not a good entry point there. If you if you watch this a bit and you saw the reversal happening here, this is where you could have caught some upside to this trade. But again, this is where the market turned, and then you would have caught a downside to this trade. The best entry point would have been here today and caught a huge downside. So you could have made some money on a put on this trade later on in the day. Basically on just about every stock you could have made money on a put at this time today. Okay, so after Apple we had GEHC. Those are kind of swings. We won't review those. That's March 21st. HIMS is March 21st. ALK was a put. Let's just see that one. I'm not even familiar with that ticker at all. ALK, a put at 939. Again, not a lot of volume, but you just definitely could have made some money here if you'd got in on if you'd have watched this and got in up here somewhere, and caught a downside to this one. But again, when your volume's not that high, you're going to have small candles, and it's going to take a long time before the price moves. It doesn't move by a lot, so you always want to make sure there's volume on a stock when you're getting in on a trade. After ALK, we had JETS, JETS, and that was a put as well. So let's look at that one. I think this one again had not a lot of volume. So it was at 939. Let's just have a look here at the chart, which is right around here. There was a rejection here on the 113 EMA. Got some upside, and then here would have been your entry point for a put. And then, of course, you'd have caught a lot of downside to this trade if you'd hung in throughout the day, and especially towards the end of the day. So that was JETS. Next, we had Meta. Meta was a call. Let's look at that at 9:53. Let's just see what that one did. 9:30, so 9:53, which is right around here. And this is when everyone's kind of expecting the market to go up. Again, it just traded sideways, and then ultimately you would have wanted to get into a put and catch some downside, especially here. So this trade did not really set up for a call today, and that was Meta. Next, we had Amazon at 10:33. Let's just look, and that was a call. Amazon 10:33. Again, that's right around here. Again, market's trading sideways. No one knows which way it's going to go. All your moving averages here sideways wouldn't have been a good entry point. Obviously, entering on the put side would have given you the trade for the day. Let's see, after Amazon, we had MSTU, which was a swing. Then we had Mr. a call at 10:44, MSTR, which is MicroStrategy. I just call it Mr. But MSTR 10:44. Let's just have a look, which would have been right around here. Again, right at this time, it was rejecting off VWAP. Again, MACD isn't strong. All your moving averages are going straight across, so it caught a rejection here, and so this would have been a good trade for a put. It didn't set up for a call, and again, market fell for the rest of the day. Next, we had TSLL, which is basically Tesla as well. TSLL 1201 call. Let's see what time that was. Again, the times here are in, let's see, we're in Mountain Standard Time. So Eastern Standard is 2 hours ahead. So let's see. This was at TSLL was at 1201, so let's just go to 1201. So again, this is when everyone is expecting the market to reverse. It did a little bit, came up, went back down, up, and then again down to the downside. So this would not have been a good trade to get into today. Next we had VKTX, which is a call March 21st. We won't go over that. IWM call at 1207. Let's just look at that and see what happened here. IWM at 1207. Again, this was expecting the market to reverse. Again, Mike had said it was extreme risk trying to get in here. And again, you could have got a put and caught a nice side down, but it didn't really set up for a call. It didn't hold. And again, it fell. Price fell. So that was IWM. Next, we had a SPY call at 1241. Again, it's oh, this isn't 0DTE. It was March 7th expiry. So let's just look at what happened here. Again, this was expecting market to reverse, which it tried to, rejected, and then went back down. So that was not a good trade for a call. And hopefully, you know, all these alerts are given out, which Mike gives them out based on what he's looking at. But when you see the market starting to drop and overall it's going down, then it's best to look at these and then determine, is it setting up for a call or is it setting up for a put? And then go either way. Just because it's given out as a call doesn't necessarily mean you have to get into it as a call. You look at the chart and you determine which way is going to give you the best chance of having a positive trade, a winning trade. And today, just because of the way the market went, everything was going down. And so everything was signaling later on in the day a downside. So that's the review of today's trades. I hope everyone made money. I'm just going to look at my list, what I got in on. I did get into Mara a put this afternoon, or that was right before lunch, and made some money on the downside there. But today was definitely a tough day for trading, and no one expected the market to drop like this, so it was definitely a tough day. Anyways, good luck for everyone for tomorrow, and we'll see you again tomorrow. Take care. Thanks for watching.